would like you to hit the like button at the beginning, because every time you hit the like button, you are letting YouTube know that what you are seeing and hearing is edifying for you, so it can be shared with others. That's why hitting the like button is so important. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to the channel.
It had to happen. Your title was so powerful. When I read the name of your ministry, it had to happen.
Let's welcome our host, Erica Wilson.
Great day, everyone. We're here live today with the girl, Erica Wilson, and it had to happen for our thoughtful Tuesday. Wow, I'm trying to skip all the way over to Thursday. However, tonight our topic is empowering youth. So let me tell you a little bit something about today. So today's message, our young people are our future, right? I love to say they're our future leaders, our future presidents, judges, doctors, lawyers, you name it, they're our future. They're the ones who will shape our world and make it a better place. So it's our responsibility to give them the tools that they need to succeed, whether it's through education, mentorship, or simply providing a safe and supportive environment. We can play a part in empowering our youth like Jeffrey. Who's Jeffrey? Let me tell you a little bit about him. Mr. Jeffery Willis is the founder and owner of MCA Total Experience, where he empowers youth through outdoor education and fishing. A graduate of Langston University. Come on, Mr. Jeffrey. Jeffrey has over 10 years of experience in professional football and 8+ years in marketing. Wow. Bringing both athletic discipline and strategic expertise to his work, y'all. A committed father to Fallon. All right, Marie. And a passionate community advocate. Jeffrey also focuses on tourism development. Now that's deep. I can't wait to hear all about that. Creating lasting impact and engagement with his community. So thank you all for tuning in here with us tonight at It Had to Happen for our Thoughtful Tuesdays. So let me go ahead and introduce to some and present to others the cowboy, Mr. Jeffery Willis. Howdy, cowboy.
Oh my God. How's it going?
Oh my God. Awesome. I can't listen. I said we'll have a little fun on here tonight. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fine. So we're gonna go ahead and have a little a good time on here tonight with our with our viewers.
A good time we will have.
That's it right there. So if you can, I read a little bit about who you are, but they'll like to hear from you. Tell us a little bit of your background. Take us back a little bit too, because we always like to hear about our guests. It's my journey, my pain, my purpose. So take us back a little bit leading up until now.
So born and raised in South Bay, Florida. Right here, they call it the Tri-City area. Many people know it as Muck City. Born and raised there, reared in church and, playing sports being, one of the largest thing we've done in our community. It kind of catapulted into, you going to college and doing whatever all the necessary things to be successful from that perspective. And, after all that, you you come back and you try and be as creative and impactful as you can be in your community. And so all of that has built such a foundation in me, which is what's really pushing the purpose today.
Wow, that is so awesome. Muck City, I tell you, that's the city where they chase the rabbits.
They do chase the rabbits.
How many did you catch, by the way?
I mean, we growed up, man, just having a lot of fun in the cane field, man. That was a way for us to just, get out and have fun and get dirty, like I don't think when we were doing it, we were looking at it from a speed perspective thing, like I don't think that was like the root cause of us, getting out in those rabbit fields like that. I think for us, it was about the competition, being the one that caught 5 more than the next guy. It was the competition for us. We never really realized that we were enhancing our ability to shift and move that quick, so that's just one of the things I think that people don't really realize when they talk about the rabbit chasing piece. It was more for us. It was more about the competition, being able to put more on that string than you, so that was really the root cause of for us when we grew up. That's what we were trying to do for sure.
But that's the thing though. We never know in the midst of what we're doing, there's purpose behind it. See, even if you guys were out there chasing those rabbits, there was greater that was coming later on that will be able to enhance your athleticism, right?
Absolutely.
Because I know Travis Benjamin, he's like a son to me. I love him. But he's really fast.
Yeah, man. A lot of those guys, even guys you wouldn't even think about. These guys are guys that could really move and shift quite well. And people say, you get it coming out of the rabbit fields, and we had such a great time competing out there.
Wow.
So again, it was something that we did for fun that translated into opportunities for some people to make good money and have good opportunities.
Oh, that is awesome. Kay says my boy got on his cowboy hat.
Oh yeah, that we doing it for real. It ain't just a show; it's a lifestyle.
Oh, there you go. So, what do you say now? Being though that you went through it, do you see the younger kids going through it now, like chasing the rabbits? Is it still a thing?
So it's not as popular as it was, back in the day. But again, we didn't have the same opportunities that these young kids have, today. They're faced with a lot more challenges than for us. Again, it was fun for us to go out there in those fields and get dirty and see if you can catch more rabbits. These kids, these cell phones and tablets and these kids, it's rare that you find a group that really wants to be outside and that's old enough to go out there and actually chase rabbits. Wow. I think that age bracket is out of sight, out of mind right now.
And the thing is, it's funny how time flies. I know that sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. Because the thing is, like now, is it really safe for them to be outside with so much going on?
Man, I would have to say yes, right? Yeah. Because I think a lot of it is what you're in close proximity to. A lot of these kids, have opportunities to stay away from things that could jeopardize their life, but having the opportunity or the strength to make that right decision, that's the hardest thing, man. These kids are influenced by others and not influenced by their parents. And so like, that's a deciding factor, man. It forced parents to now be parents in order for you to look at your child and ask for that level of respect from them. It's gonna require you to be a different kind of parent in front of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Totally. That's hard these days,
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, you said it depends on what environment you're in proximity in. The thing is, it's not just happening in the hood anymore. It's happening everywhere, and it's always, well, not always, but majority of the time I see where it's an innocent bystander. You see, we're losing our youth like I mean, we're just losing them. And I love this, that you're empowering the youth and the way you're going about doing it. But it's more, we need more people like you that can speak and reach our youth, because a lot of times, you know, especially young men, they don't want to hear nothing.
So I also coach high school football right now. And, you know, I get an opportunity to deal with the different age brackets. So being at the high school, I quickly learned that, you know, these kids, even though they seem really, really tough, they're really, really soft, compassionate kids, but they just require a lot of attention. So like you have to keep a level of consistency with that group that, you know, it takes a lot to do it, because you gotta really have a heart for them, because you're gonna have to show up for them. You know, and then that's how you gain their respect, and that's how, because they want to be heard. Like these kids, they feel like, hey man, are you gonna stop and listen to what I gotta say? Because I need you to hear me too. Like you want me to hear you, but are you stopping to hear me? And so we come from an old school background where back in the day, you know, our parents told us to, you know, I'm talking, be quiet, don't say nothing, right? And so with these kids today, you can't. You know, every generation gets better. Every generation gets smarter. You know, principles and foundations stay the same, but you got to give these kids an opportunity to actually speak.
Absolutely. And I think too, you made a valid point when you said about the parents not listening, because a lot of times back in our days, you know, parents was listening to respond. They were not listening to hear. And this is what our kids want from us today. And being a single parent of two young men, I found it where you can't talk at your kids, you have to talk with your kids. You see, so some say you can't be friends with your kids. I beg to differ, because it worked for me. I'm not saying that it will work for anybody else, but it worked for me. Why? Because I was able to have an open dialogue with them, even when I wanted to wring their neck. Some of the things that they told me, I couldn't show them that, because guess why? They wouldn't come back. And now I'm going outside and talk to whoever else. But I want you to be able to come to mom and have that open dialogue, whatever it is, you know?
And it's important though. Like it's important to understand the moment, you know, because they're going to become a moment in your child's life where you're going to get the opportunity to get on it. Right. But then there's going to be an opportunity for you to like really, even though he messed up, this ain't a get on it moment. This is a love on it moment.
Right.
And then there's a difference and there's a balance in between all of those. Like, you know, these kids are dealing with a lot, man. Like I see it from a high school perspective. I see it from in the middle schools now, like going into high school and what that translates into. And I see it how it starts in elementary. Like you can see the little pockets of kids that, you know, like you see the transitionings happening. Right. And so we got to create systems and communities that could help parents today, because I always say this, man, these parents are having it hard. You know, they working 70, 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. Like, you know, it's hard to be a parent. Like it is, like, to be fair to parents, you know, but that's when our community and that village is supposed to play such a significant part, you know, to kind of help facilitate the absence of mom or dad in certain scenarios because of the hours of labor that they have to put in just to provide. And you got to be fair about that. You know, so it's just a lot, man. You know, this is a lot of challenges that I think, you know, we're facing as it pertains to the results of some of our kids being in some of the spaces that they currently are in.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because yesterday we had a show on domestic violence, right? And our guest, she actually go into the schools and speak to the kids in elementary. So I was saying like, you know, but I think that's a great idea, because guess why? You get them when they're young. That really, I think it really helps more so than ever, because the thing about it is now you're able, that village is coming into the schools. Now, I don't know what's going to happen now, since you know everything that's going on, but that village is able to go into the schools to speak to the kids. But what happens if that school don't have that village? Thank God they have you, you know, and you're there for these kids, and you get it. You understand that they're going through some things. You understand that they need to be heard. You know, you're able to compromise with them, even though you may feel like right now it could be all the way wrong, but I need to listen. I really need to listen to this kid because we don't want to lose this kid.
One thing we get all the time in coaching, these kids will come off the field and be like, wait, Coach Joe, I need you to just listen to me for a second.
Wow.
And that's important though, because you got to stop and hear what they're seeing that you're not seeing.
Absolutely.
So it's very important that you stop and listen to what they're saying, because they could be giving you some valuable information. You know, again, this group of kids is just different. My daughter's 8, you know, and the things that she can retain and recite is remarkable, right? And so you imagine what a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, you know, could really sit down and be creative and talk about. Like, so you gotta listen to what these kids are saying. Like, my daughter could walk in here right now and she say, Dad, like, I think you should do it like this. I have to consider it. Right. Not just because she's 8, just because she has a perspective.
Oh, that's good.
So that's really it. I don't feel like as a father, I'm gonna always make the right decision. You make the right decision based on the information that you get. You don't make the right decision just because you feel like it's the right thing. You make the decision based on all of everything you can put in one hat, and then you make the best call for you and your family, for that matter, you know? So like, it's just perspective.
Yeah. And see, a lot of times parents don't think that they could be wrong. And we can. See, parenting don't come with the handbook, unfortunately, you know, but it's going to be times where we're wrong. Yeah. We will get it wrong.
And for the record, this is just my perspective as to, you know, the dynamics of what it should look like. I don't, there's no handbook. This is just what I've come to now feel is important and valuable as it pertains to the kids that I have direct contact with.
And see, that's amazing. That's good. Consider it, because it's a perspective. Absolutely. Because the thing about it is, if I can't be heard from my mother or my father,
I'm going to get it from somewhere.
Come on.
I need somebody to hear me.
I think there you go. And it may not be that good somebody. Now you're putting your daughter's or your son's future in the hands of somebody that mean them no good.
And so here's another barrier that I face. So I get the opportunity to deal with not just these inner city kids in our communities, but kids in much wealthier situations. And 2 things I found out is, when you get these kids by themselves, they all talk, and you learn quickly that white or black, rich or poor, these kids are struggling with the same issues. And when you sit down and talk to them, they all say the same thing. Nobody's there. Mom, dad working. It's the most normal thing. So who's raising them? Like, who's loving on them? Who's making sure homework gets done? Like, who's eating dinner at the dinner table? Things that matter way more than a lot of stuff that's happening. And you really can't blame parents, because if they don't work 70, 80 hours, they cannot provide for their child. And I think that's where our issues lies.
I'm glad how you just gave that. You said it's not just in the lower income communities.
No, man, these kids kids in $1 million homes and feel like they got no mama, no daddy, because they out the house for the same amount of hours.
Yep. And the thing is, what parents don't understand, I'm reading this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And this book, I think it should be in every home. Did you read it?
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good. The thing is, again, we're always chasing, I forgot, a rat race, I think he called it. A rat race is what he called it. But the thing is, we're working. But when do we have time to actually enjoy the things that we're working for, right? Meaning, the very one thing is to be able to provide for your family. Now, you could give a child everything, but if you're not giving them the time and you're not being there to be an ear for them, I don't care how much you give them, you're going to lose them.
You're going to lose them.
Because they need the time.
They need the time.
They need the talks. They need to see that you care. But now I'm going to throw something bigger at you. Nowadays, you have a lot of kids raising kids, which it was back in that because I was a teenage mom. But the thing is, you have a lot of people that's raising, kids raising kids, or the kid is being raised with the grandmother. Grandmother only can do so much.
Right.
Where is this village? That's why we need this village, this community of people that can pour into our children. It's needed. It need to be community centers. It need to be, I don't care, Zooms, whatever it may be to reach our youth. But the thing is, we got to go in willing to hear, not listen to respond, but we got to be able to listen to hear these kids.
And so that's one of the hardest things, man, because, you know, even when you think about trying to get funding and different things like that, a lot of the time the funding and stuff doesn't really relate directly to the kids' needs.
There you go.
You know, and so but we have to take ourselves out of necessarily.
Real quick, tip your hat. She said our hat's killing it. Hey.
Oh, you know, we
hey.
but yeah, it's hard though, you know, it's hard, and you got to kind of work through all those different barriers to really get an understanding for you know, trying to put these kids in a better position, for sure.
Absolutely. Miss Betty just came in. Miss Betty used to drive school buses, and she called me one time and she was telling me about trying to do a podcast for the children to have basically like an outlet, right? And she was saying a lot of times what we're saying here, the kids want to be heard. Nobody's listening to them, really. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost as though everything, if I can't get anybody to listen to me now, some of the stuff is bottled up. I'm not going to know how to communicate. Guess why? In my adulthood, because I kept everything bottled up, you know, and then when it do come out, it's going to come out the wrong way. But why is it so hard for us as adults to actually take a stand back and say, let me listen to that child? Because I was once a child and we know what we did when we was a child, right?
Yeah, I mean, but we sometimes forget that.
Yeah.
You know? Like we sometimes forget that we wasn't always like this, right? And so like from like my grandma to my mom, from me to my daughter, you know, like I have to. They say every generation is supposed to get better, right? Yeah. And so you got to be able to take what it was like for grandma, what it was like for mom, what it was like for yourself, and make it better for your baby. For you know what I mean? So it's supposed to continue to elevate in a sense, right? And so that's important because then you get to be able to set the stage, right? You know, you be able to set the stage, and so it has to start somewhere, though. Absolutely. Because in most of our families right now, like we've lost that family structure and dynamics in our homes, right? And so that's what I say, you got to get back to the fact that every generation is supposed to get better so that it realigns itself. You know, it has to go back and realign itself. It has to, because that's the only way. If you know, they say a house without rocks, it won't stand. It won't stand. It will not stand. So, it will not. Yeah. So you got to go back and redo the foundation. I think that's the most important thing, for sure.
And we have to understand too that even though the foundation wasn't built earlier, it's not too late.
No, because we understand where the foundation is. You know, we understand where the foundation is. So you gotta. Once you understand the foundation, everything's supposed to get off site. You know, the Bible speaks of the times we're currently living in, right? Yeah. So yeah. I'm a big fan of like the Lion King. So I believe like that full circle, like it has to come back around. You know, like even with dads, like we got to get back in the house. It got to come full circle again. You know, it gotta be to a point. It gotta get bad before it get good.
Now I'm gonna tell you something when you said that, but Kay said you have to come back for a part 2. She's already claiming it. But okay, you say dads have to get back in the house. I agree that dad needs to be in the house. But if it's a toxic environment, dad don't need to be in that house.
Well, I think that's wisdom, right? And so I would hope, you know, you can't do it for the simple fact of the children.
Okay.
I'm not opposing that at all, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that whatsoever. Like,
Right.
men, moms, not together. So you gotta truly understand that piece, right? And there has to be a level of maturity that goes along with that. Like, that's one thing we've always been able. It wasn't always great, right? But over the years, it's gotten a lot better to the point where we could truly co-parent in a space that's healthy for our charter. I get a say so as to what her foundation is built around. You know what I mean? Like, mom make the day-to-day decisions on the structure of her life. But even though I'm involved daily, I get to set the foundation for it though. You know, mom run the show. You know, but for her foundation, it's if you sat down and had a conversation with Fallon, you're gonna see the structure of her life.
Wow.
And that's, for me, is all I could do. You know, like, I feel like as long as I can build that structure in her, everything else is you know, she's gonna go out and be able to make the right decision for herself at that point.
There you
and
go.
That's all you can really do.
And then also, not just on the dads, the moms have to allow the dads to be dads. Just because you guys are not together anymore, do not mean if dad has moved on.
That's a maturity thing, though.
Let him be dad at the end of the day. It's hard. But see, the thing too with that too, I have to point back at the man, because the man should make sure that the current wife or girlfriend knows that mom, and they don't have to be the best of friends, but guess what? When I release my child to her dad, whose care she's going to be in? Both of theirs. So I want to know who's my daughter in contact with. Well, I may not like it because I probably still have feelings or whatever. But the thing about it is, that's what you said. They're going to have maturity. You have to understand what's in the best interest of the child.
Yeah.
Get out your feelings, girl.
I think it's beautiful when a man could be in the space with his wife and his baby mom, and you know that there's no tension in the room. Like, like, that's a different feel. Even as a man, to be able to have that level of maturity built between two women that, like, one of them you ain't got no dealings with in that space, but you guys are able to, be cohesive. Like, whether it's birthdays or graduations or whatever the case may be, you guys need to be able to be in the same room, and sometime without me. Like,
that's good.
I don't need to be hearing all y'all talking. Like, if y'all need to have a conversation, bro, y'all could call each other and say, "Hey, girl, I Fallon did this. I need that conversation."
Not only that, dad don't have to be the only one to pick up the child. I can come pick up the child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the biggest picture, the big picture is the child sees great things happening between parents. So guess what? That's what she's gonna want to do.
At least she's gonna see an example of what it should look like.
Exactly.
Right? She's gonna have to make her decisions, right? And everybody rebel. I don't got that naive space where I don't think Fallon's gonna be like that. I know you taught me how to do this, but I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm very much so, because I was a split image, so, like, I gotta be honest and transparent with myself and say, at least I know my mom gave me a foundation.
Yes.
I can always go back to I know how to go get on my knees when I need to.
There you go. And it
You
could be
know,
a crack in the foundation. It could be a crack in the foundation, but the thing is, what do they do to fill in the crack? The crack could be filled in, you know, if there were. But Miss Betty says, what I'm realized, no one is also teaching the kids of the gifts and talents they have, not being told about them. That's true. That's true.
In a positive way though.
Yes.
Like right now, our current football team is Glade Central Raiders. We're now 9-1, right?
Oh,
and when these kids walk around the neighborhoods and stuff, like these kids don't come back feeling like, you know, man, they was congratulating me, you know, like, you know, that sense of positive reinforcement. And that's so important with this generation because they want to feel love just like anybody else. It's a desire to. I did something early part of the year and it kind of just then played out throughout the season now, but I started hugging the guys like on the team, like my group. I started grabbing them like, man, bro, give me a hug, bro. Like hug my neck. At first it was such a resistance. Like, man, man, get off me, you know, type thing. And then, you know, as the week went on, I started getting that walk up, you know, that hug. These kids will do whatever you tell them to do. You just got to love them. You just got to love them. You got to love them.
That is so awesome. We're going to go to a commercial really quick. I'm definitely going to put this young man up here because he definitely someone that I truly, truly admire and very proud of the things that he's doing and has done in the community. So let me go ahead and play this commercial and we'll be right back, guys.
You got to crawl before you walk. My journey started right here, cutting hair in backyards with a crate and some old clippers. De ahí crecimos. From the crate to the mobile barbershop to the players' lounge, I've learned a lot through all of this. Most important is to focus on giving back to my family and my neighborhood. We have to support each other if we want to survive. I started with nothing, but I fight hard and I keep pushing. I'm proud to be a barber in Miami, Florida, the greatest city on earth. We've come a long way, and that fire's still burning. I am a fighter, and this is my fighting spirit.
Congratulations.
Shouts out to you, Kane's Barber. I love you, son. You're doing your thing. But yeah, let's get back to this hugging thing. A lot of times too, you can kind of see or tell if you come within their space, because you only could come so close to me, right? And if one is resisting the hugs or kind of being, you know, reluctant from getting them, I really think one shouldn't stop. One should keep at it. And then I think that child it should be more conversations had with that child, because that's a strong possibility that something's going on. And when our kids act out, we like to say that they're bad. No, a lot of times they're crying out for help. So was there ever a time where you went to practice and you saw that one or two kids needed more attention than others? If so, how did you handle that?
So for me, I could tell right away. I could tell right away if one of my guys are off, but that's just because I've taken the opportunity to understand that all 9 of them are different and I can communicate with all 9 of them differently. And that's the unique thing about these group of kids today. Like, these kids are just, you know, they're just super emotional beings, and that's what they're taught to be, you know, and they moving off of emotion, everything. And so, you know, you got to be able to understand, you know, what kid you can yell at, what kid you got to be careful with the words you use, because you can't use the same tone with all of them. And so, again, you got to be able to respect the person that you're actually communicating with. And sometimes that's hard to do for adults because you feel like you're talking to a child. And some kids shut down, you know, some kids shut completely down by yelling. You can't get across to them like that. Some kids you got to go grab by the arms and say, hey, man, let's go take a walk. And then, you know, that's how so you got to figure that out. And you only could figure that out by spending time with them allowing them to talk to you and you communicate with them, and just getting a good understanding of what their emotional space is like. It's no different than trying to understand your spouse. You know, you gotta figure out what makes them go. And so, figure that out, and then, sit and listen. It'll show itself. It always does. You just got to be intentional about learning them.
Yep. Miss Betty says, I'm not great at texting. The kids love to text. But I learned is when you tell them how great they are at something, then they realize someone sees their worth, and a hug makes it all the worth. Do you agree with me?
I would have to. Yeah. Again, it's all about making them feel appreciated and know that they did something worth a smile or a hug or, a small gift. Like that stuff go a long way with these kids. Like at the end of the day, they're kids.
Yeah.
Like they have only experienced a child's life.
Right.
So they may move as an adult, but they're not adults. They're still kids. So they still want the same thing that 12-year-old want. If you never got it at 12, you're going to be 18, still looking for what you missed out at 12.
Come on.
And so those are all barriers and I was one of those kids, I got a different level of understanding around it because I experienced it. So when you pull from all that, you starting to realize, man, for real, all I wanted was just to be heard. Like I just wanted you not to tell me what to do, but listen to what I gotta say. And then if I still gotta do at least you stop and hurt me.
Right. My son just, oh my God, you stepping up.
At least I might still, Mama, I still might have to do what you told me to do, but you heard me out.
Right.
And so for them, they feel respected because that's how they view respect. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna do whatever you want me to do. I just want you to hear me, though.
I just want you to hear me. That's powerful right there. Just hear me. Just hear me.
Just hear me.
Wow.
And you can move mountains with these kids.
Wow. So if you had any parents that's under the sound of your voice right now and that's listening in, just go ahead and just offer them some words of encouragement, however God see fit, and he see you to move, whatever words he give you, we need to hear. And I want you to speak from a parent's point of view first, and then I want you to come as a coach. Now, the reason why I say as a coach, because what happens is we have some parents, like I was one of them, when my son would go to practice or whatever, and I hear the coach saying some things that I don't think that he should be, I intervene. So I want you to speak from both point of views for me, because you're going to help some of us.
So from a parent perspective, I would say sit your kids down daily and have a conversation with them, a real conversation. Like how was your day? What about your day that wasn't good? Did you have a bad moment today? Like really try to create a pattern to where you can look in your kid's face when they walk in that door and you know something wrong. And then you start asking questions that can kind of, get them to open up about whatever their experience was that day, good, bad, or indifferent. I believe that it's extremely important to have an open dialogue with your kids. And the only way that you can have an open dialogue with this generation is to actually also hear them. And I think that that's just so important. I think that's super, super important today. So for parents, what I would leave y'all with is just to really sit down and have a real conversation and start really paying attention to your kids' movements. These kids are kids, so their patterns don't really change significantly. These kids typically do the same stuff every day because that's what they have. So just start paying attention to their movements, where they're going, what they're doing, who they're hanging around, and you'll get a better understanding of what type of environment your kid actually operates in. And so that's what I leave parents with. Just be super attentive to trying to have those conversations to get some awareness about their day-to-day activity. That's what I would say to parents. From a coach perspective, with the way that we are heavily influenced as fathers, let us be the dad for now. Let us do the jacking up, you know, because again, we're raising boys, and you gotta be, and we're boys, right? And so we gonna always test the water. We're lions. We're naturally hunters, and so with the understanding that we're gonna always test the water, you know. So give us grace. But give those coaches the opportunity to really step in and have those tough moments and tough conversations, because in most cases that what builds characters in these guys, you know, because as they continue to go up the ladder from high school or from little league to high school to college, it don't get no lighter.
No.
You know, and actually the further you go, that room become more tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because once you get to college, you can't do what you did in high school. In college, they're going to pack you up and send you home.
That's right.
And so there's a different level of structure that we have to implement much younger, because by the time they're out of high school, they're not going to get a second chance at being disrespectful or, you know, not following the directions the way that it's supposed to be done. Like, so you got to allow those coaches to, you know, be the dad in those moments, because that's the structure that's being built. It's no different than you going to the military and having to go through basic training. You know, like, you got to get on these kids in order to get some consistency out of them. If you go in there and you take it light, they're going to push over you, because again, they smart, they know the system, they know they know how to manipulate the system, they know you can't hit them. You know, they know you can't, you know, and so you got to find strategies that work for your child or your students, or your players in a coach, from a coach perspective. You got to kind of know all of them, because again, I got kids right now. There's some I can yell at, and there's some I got to go put my arm around and say, hey man, I need you to tighten up.
But
and
you know
other ones, you got to be around them to figure that out though.
Yeah.
So let coaches be coaches for now, parents, because, you know, they are playing the role of that male dominant figure in their life. And so in some of these cases, most of these kids don't have dad at home. And so that's dad for now, you know, unfortunately, right. That's the biggest influential male in his life.
Wow. Sometime if they come to you wanting to talk, ask them, do you need my opinion, or do you just want me to be a listening ear? Or you want my opinion, you will be surprised what they may say.
That's why I say my daughter's 8, and I'm gonna ask questions. Baby girl, what you think about this? Just to hear what she might say something totally off the wall. So Bishop Jakes taught me something a long time ago. He said something a long time ago, is that I don't ever want to be to a point in my life that I can't continue to learn from those that are around me, young and old. And I just thought that was just so important, because the same valuable stuff that my grandma could still install in me, my daughter, in her unaware imagination, could offer you some advice that could also save your life.
I'm telling you. See, I don't think people understand that though, because I think, you know, sometimes, have you ever heard that saying, you done been here before?
Yeah, you done been here before.
Yeah. Right? And it's again, it sounds something, but it's, you know, we hear it all the time. You done been here before. Kids nowadays know more than what we think.
Absolutely.
Parents, we try to hide certain things from them, but they know, you know, and that's why when we talked about the dad being back in the home, I was saying, if the home is not toxic, right? Because you could think you're in your bedroom, in the privacy of your bedroom, and you and your girl or your wife is having a disagreement, and some things may have been said. You think it's in your room, but little do you know, the kids done heard it. Or they may see the way mom walking around the house sad, or may dad walking around the house sad, you know, and nobody's talking to them about what's going on, because guess what? We know, but we left with to think whatever we want to think about it because nobody is talking to us. So we find out what happens. A lot of broken men, a lot of broken women. So in our adulthood, we become adults. Well, like you said, we have adults, but we have the kid in us that's broken, that never got a chance to heal, never start therapy or anything to be able to heal. So now you're having people raising children broken.
Because every generation before them was broken.
Exactly. Now I'm getting together because guess why? I'm getting together because I wasn't heard at home. So now I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. That's male or female. So they're not falling into the hands of what? The wrong person, you know. And then here it is. We had a couple of kids, or maybe just one. We break up. Now one parent is the worst parent in the world, but you never thought about that when that's who you chose.
Yeah.
See, we have to learn how to break those generational curses as well. So again, like I said, more coaches and more human beings is needed, like you, to pour into our youth, because again, they are our future leaders.
They are. And I truly believe that we got a lot of great leaders out there for real. That it's not just they just not in the right position at the right time, you know, and that's what you gotta love about what you do. You really only get one shot at this thing, right? And so we got to do it the right way, or best you could, you know. And so when you get an opportunity to try to be impactful, you want to make sure you do it the right way.
Yes.
You know, I don't get to hang out like most people just hang out. Like it's not my space. Yeah, like I just don't. And so it's not because it's necessarily all bad stuff or anything like that. It's just that, you know, certain spaces you just learn to.
Yeah.
You got to pick them wisely, you know, and so that's just a part of the growth part of it, I guess.
But then too, you have to also know that even in hanging in the wrong places, people don't understand that spirits are real. And I can pick up that you come from a Christian background, but we don't even understand that spirits are real. So the thing about it is what you're carrying on you, now you before all of these children. You know what I'm saying? So the soul ties become real.
They are real. They are real, for sure. They are definitely real. But that's why I say too, man, like you really have to be. And so I've gotten to a place in my life that, you know, I realized that I had a gift or a call, right, on my life, right? And so before I used to think the attention was cool, you know, like I ain't never been, I wasn't popular in high school. Like I wasn't like the other guys. So I didn't really grow up like that. You know, I kind of grew up like pull from down the street, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't in that group. So, you know, as my life expanded and I got greater opportunities, you know, the light got brighter a little bit, right? But coming from where I came from and then being maximized in that space on such a large scale as a football player, it was like, it was really detrimental to me because it happened so fast and it came so quickly that I really didn't know how to really manage it. And so there were moments that I really messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like early on in my life, because you go from this little small town where don't nobody really know you. Now you become such a light. That's why now, like, I'd rather stay back and away from everything, you know, and do great work, because I remember what it was like when that light was really, really bright. And, you know, and granted, I'm in a much different headspace now than I was at that point, but because of the experience,
right,
I became a little bit more cautious of what I allowed myself to.
Okay.
Or the arenas I allowed myself to operate in.
Now here's the thing. Come on, Holy Spirit, use me. Because here's the thing. Yes, it had to happen. That's first of all, it had to happen.
It had to happen.
That it had to happen back then because he knew who you were going to become. So for your now, it was working together for your good. But watch this though. I don't want you to ever feel like you got to stay in the background because that's not what God called us to be. God called us to be on the front line because we're soldiers. That's number one. And we can't do nothing from the back. We got to do that thing standing 10 toes down because guess what? There's people that we have to, hallelujah. There's people that we have to cover. Those kids that you talk to every day, that you coach every day, you're covering them. You have a special covering over your life. So the enemy is trying to tell you, oh, I want to stay in the back. No, because you need to be seen, because you need to be heard. And there's so many people that God is going to place in your path outside of those children. So do not let the enemy rob you of saying, I need to stay in the background. No. God has been too great, not good, but great to you for you to be in the background. God says, even though you may be standing in the background, I see you, but I need you to come on up front. I need you
like, when I say background, like, I mean, like, super humble about the wins. Okay. You know, like, I'm super humble about the wins. Like, I'm okay with the moment, and I could handle the light, right? But I'm always super reminded of how fast it could go.
But see,
and so I walk in a level of, even though I know I do great things, I walk in a level of humility. Yeah, like I walk in a high level of humility. Like, bro, I ain't gonna argue with you about it. Like, you can have it. I'm good.
Oh, like, no, in that case, yeah.
Like I'm just like, I'd rather be,
because you know what you carry. You already know what you carry.
So see, I know. So like, I'd rather. I just
like, bro, go ahead. It's like, yours. You understand?
It's yours. You know, see? Like, because I know the call. I know the great. Like, I know. So like, I've learned to not even.
That's good.
Because it's gonna come. It's gonna come regardless. Like, it's.
You helping some people, because do you know there's a lot of us walking around here that don't even know the gift that we carry. We don't even know what we have. You see what I'm saying? We say it, but do we really know what God has truly blessed us with? And when you know who you are and whose you are, that's the moment you're gonna walk in humility. You're gonna be humble, you know. But at the same time, too, I believe in look. Any chance I get, I'm going to tell the goodness of my God. Any chance I get, you know, and people will look at it like you're boasting and bragging on, you know, I'm boasting and bragging on my God because I know what he can do. And I'm hoping to shine some light because, I had to go through it so I could be the light for the next. You see?
Let me share a brief real story of myself. So I was a guy that did not play high school football. Got to college and got pointed out in the gym to go and try out for the football team. Ended up making the team, playing at Langston University, right? And so like that's how my football career started. From there, went on and played 3 years there, played a couple years Marina CFL, and football was not a dream for me. Like, I never thought that I would ever be what God gave me the opportunity to do as a football player. Never saw it coming. I thought basketball was going to be my thing. Baseball was going to be my thing, even though, you know, basketball became more of a priority when it came to sports. But I never saw myself in it, you know? And so, like, to be able to have made the sacrifices that I've made to be able to stand in some of the spaces or the rooms that I currently stand in, it had everything to do with, you know, me being able to close my eyes, hearing from God and being like, I'm going no matter if I ain't got but $5 in my pocket, you know, and I've always walked on that level of faith. You know, I remember when I first got to Philadelphia, my very first year. They brought me in for a workout. When I walked in the door, I told the guy when I walked in, I'm not leaving. You know, like, I'm not leaving. Like, I got one bag with me and I'm not getting on the plane to go back to Florida. So we're going to figure it out. And so that's exactly what ended up happening. I made the team, they signed me, and, you know, the rest was history. But it was like because I went believing that everything was going to be the way God showed me it was going to be before I got there. And I had no plan B. You know, like, I had no plan B. So that was it. It was just where my faith was in that space of my life. And so every transition of my life, it's been exact same way.
My God.
And every time even coming back home to Florida, when I got back home and said that I was going to build this program out and really push this conversation in my community, like, nobody of African American has never done it. So I'm the first I'm one of one in that case, right? Wow. And so with it never being done, everybody had questions. Like, what is he doing? Like, a black fisherman? Like he trying to fish tournaments too? He got a boat? Like, nobody expected. Everybody thought I was like crazy. But look at the expansion God has given me in it throughout the process. You know, like,
oh my God. Wow. Let me tell you something. I have chill bumps over here.
Yeah.
It is
so
amazing.
It works though. I'm a living testament of really truly hearing from God and being able to blindly go and watch him take care of you along the way.
My God. Ooh, Jesus. Let me tell y'all something. If y'all was not inspired by this show, it happened so fast because I'm telling you, we didn't even jump into you being the founder of MCA and what it really is. We just, oh my God. Whoa. He said, I'm one of one.
One of one, yeah.
And he went to school. Guys, he went to school and he said, I'm not leaving. I got one bag, but I'm not leaving. Yeah. I am not going back to Florida. And this is to any inspiring athletes. I'm sorry, anybody that want to do anything. Think about it. He never played high school football. He get to college and he was pointed out. See, that's the favor. That's when you know that favor go ahead. Oh, Jesus. When favor go ahead of you. See, even though that wasn't your dream, that was God's path. Hallelujah, Jesus. And by you being able to get that experience in football, look what you're doing now. You're coaching. So you're paying it forward. Oh, my God. Now he has this awesome MCA total experience that he's introducing to the community, which we all need to hear about. We're right here at 6:58, but I need to hear about this MCA total experience, and we definitely have to bring you back for part 2 because I like to be respectful of people's time.
That's fair.
So, but I want you to tell us a little bit about how this came about and, you know, what it is that you're doing in the community.
All right, so the MCA Total Experience is a nonprofit organization that's reared in the Western community of Palm Beach County. Basically, what I did was I took a seasonal fishing curriculum and I built a life skill course around it. And so basically, what we do is we gather these kids from all around the Tri-City area and we teach them life skills. So it's a lot like what you would have probably remember as Boy Scout, but it's a much urban relation style to it that we actually offer. So we have different components that all applies into it. So tourism plays a significant factor in it. Just understanding what conservation is and how it relates to making decisions every day. Same with fishing, using different tackles, using different techniques, using different bait styles, colors, water conditions, lake levels, all that cool stuff. So we compile all that stuff in and we create opportunities for these kids to think beyond what they see in front of them. And so you always got to change baits and all that kind of stuff with the actual conditions of the water. And so those are all just adjustments. And so we use adjustments in fishing and paraphrase them into what a decision like that would be in life. So if you get to a red light or a caution light and you got to decide whether or not you're going to go through that light or not go through that light, you got to make a decision, and you got to be really precise in making that decision. So those are just small things that we've implemented from a life skill perspective, along with, tying knots, tying hooks, all of the outdoor stuff. So from camping, all of that cool stuff, we do all of that stuff with the program, where we take kids in the woods for weekends at a time, just to give them that full outdoor experience. And be honest, there's a lot of kids that is very much so interested in being in the outdoors and fishing. It's really big amongst our girls. The guys love it too, but we always get a big population of young girls that likes to be more so engaged than the guys. The guys they're gonna go, but the girls are really super attentive with detailed stuff. And so I found that to be super impactful from some of the survey stuff that we've done the last 4 years, hosting summer camps in the Western community. And so that's the large sum of the MCA Total Experience. We partner with different organizations to bring other expertise in. People like University of Florida in their research and their water department. We use the FWC, which is Florida Fish and Wildlife, as a resource as well, to bring in to do some of our conservation stuff. And so we have local partners and sponsors locally that also supports it every year, which has been extremely cool, which has also afforded us the opportunity to could keep the program running. And so we're looking to build it out even more coming into the next school year, so that we can start going into some of these schools and facilitating these same exercises. Just to get these kids just back outside again, getting them involved in the outdoors, so that they could, be in a space to really critically think a lot cleaner. So that's really the goal of the program, and we're going on 5 years now that we've been doing it, and we're on year 6. We had 57 kids last year in our summer program. Which we're super excited. Another thing we added, I just want to mention this real quick. Another thing we added is the 10 all in. Santonio Holmes, the MVP from the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a foundation which is called 10 all in. And so we partnered this year to provide a golfing piece to the program as well. So not only were the kids involved in just outdoor fishing and all of that kind of stuff, they also got a chance to swing some golf clubs for the very first time, which we know that don't typically happen in our communities. So that was very impactful as well. We had PGA come in as a sponsor for them to help support that as well. So we did have some good feedback and stuff like that for our community. So that was just super good. The thing is, man, how do we be impactful in the off seasons of big time sports events like football? Yeah. And so we got to figure out ways to keep them busy. And so these are things that we can say, hey man, go pick up your rod, find your canal bank somewhere and go catch your fish, or just go down the street down there to the golf course and hit you a couple balls, just to do something a little bit different. And so that's what we've been able to do. That's what we've worked on. And that's the biggest gist of it. The last thing I'm gonna leave with is I've been working with the city of South Bay in their ecotourism department. So we're currently developing a tourism site. And so it's called the South Bay Village by the Lake. It's going to be the very first of its kind that's around the Lake Okeechobee. That is already starting. It's that starting process. I've been the developer of that particular project.
Wow.
Super excited about it because I get to pull all of these resources together in one room in one hat, working alongside the city manager and staff over at South Bay to create that program. So I'm super grateful for them to just see value in my body of work and allowing me to be as creative as they have allowed me to be over the last year or so building out this project. So I'm super excited about all of that because it finds its way to connect with community just through the outdoors. And, you know, we're all Southern country folks. And so it's super cool to be able to provide such a resource like this for such a community like that.
Oh my God. First of all, I have to say congratulations. That is all awesome. That is all awesome. But I have to throw moms in there because I have a nonprofit, Mothers of Motivated Sons. So while you guys have the sons, we can have the moms, and but mom's not going in the woods. Not this long. You know what? This mom is not in the woods. I'm too scared.
I hear that.
But the thing is, I think what happens is like we talk about football, right? I'm a mother of a football player. He's retired now. However, I didn't know some of the things that we had to go through when he was in college and even in the league. I learned and I picked up so much. So we come together as a whole, and what we want to do is get the mothers. If you have the kids, we have the mothers. Let me tell you something. When the head is right, what is right?
Everything goes forward, baby. Everything goes forward.
That's it. So think about that. Right. Let me go ahead and go to commercial really quick, but think about that really quick, guys.
Hey guys, you may have a business, or you may be an actor, you may be an entrepreneur, whatever it may be. You want to come on and share your story. Do know you could come over our way. We'll love to have you on It Had to Happen Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. And thank you all for following, liking, commenting, subscribing, and even loving the content that we put out here at It Had to Happen. God bless you all. Until next time, bye-bye.
All right, guys. If you would like the book, definitely go to my website at www.ericawilsonih2h.com. And you could be a guest like the Jeffery Willis, Coach Willis, okay? And also, Jeffrey, you can use the same link you used before to book. And we'll love to have you come back. I know Kay gonna get on you, so I already know she's gonna hold it down. But we guys, please do. How can one get in touch with you if they have a little one that maybe benefit from this program?
So I'm on all social media sites, Jeffery Willis, MCA, Mug City Angler, MCA Total Experience. Website is mcatotalexp.org. It's the actual website. It's actually under construction right now because we're getting ready to put our spring stuff up. But that's the actual website that you could go on and find it. I'll make sure we could link it somewhere. But yeah, that's where you can find us if you guys wanted. We do offer clinics. We do have a service package that do stuff like that. So if you got your own group of kids and you just wanted us to provide the service or a portion of the curriculum, we also have stuff like that available as well.
Wow. Guys, you heard it here. It Had to Happen. Man, I am super duper stoked about what you're doing. It's unheard of. Again, you said you want one though, right? And I'm praying that all goes well with the project that you're working on now. And I'm just, first of all, thank you again for being here and accepting the invitation to come on It Had to Happen and share all of this and matching my fly, even though I don't have a hat, but this was so many jewels was dropped here on tonight, parents. Anyone that's listening in that may know of a young one, or even I'm talking about a parent that's struggling to see ends meet. And when I say that, I'm not talking about financially, because again, we have our kids that we're losing by the wayside, guys, and they need people like Coach Jeffery, to speak life back into them. Parents, he also said, we need to have open dialogue with our children. We need on a daily basis, do not let the day go by without asking them how was their day. Maybe it's something that you're missing that they need to talk about, and you just open the floor for them to come, and communicate with you what's going on. Not only that, stop listening to respond, parents, and listen to hear. He also said too that he listens to his 8-year-old daughter's perspective. He take that into consideration. So parents, we could be wrong sometimes, and we do need to listen to our kids because their voice matter as well. We don't want them growing up thinking that their voice does not matter. Okay. So Jeffrey, is there anything that you want to leave with our audience on today?
Well, for you, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I'm so stoked about the opportunity today. So thank you, big time. To everybody that got an opportunity to just log on, or you'll hear it later. Just remember that we live in such sensitive times, and these kids are very, very a crucial part of these times. And so we got to be able to sit down and get an understanding of where they at and what's important to them, so that we can start to build value around the things that they enjoy. And so we got to be able to do that. And so I just wanted to say thank you again. And I love to come back one day here in the future.
All right. We'll love to have you. Thank you again. Guys, we do not like leaving this broadcast. Oh, tomorrow is Wow Wednesday, Women of Word Chat with Dr. B. And that is our prayer broadcast tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then on Thursday, I have a young lady, Cynthia Frank, Life After Prison. Please do come and show her some support. You know, everyone deserves second chances. Meet us back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. We love you guys. Come on, Jeffrey. We got to send them out with some virtual hugs. Oh, my God. And some virtual love. Let me give you some hearts, Jeffrey. Hold on. Where my hearts at for you? There you go. Guys, we love you here at It Had to Happen, and we cannot do this without each and every one of you. Until next time, guys, we love you. God bless you. Bye-bye.